Yo, what's up, y'all? Let me ask you something. Who are you becoming when nobody's watching? And more importantly, are you actually equipped for the path you say you're on? You gotta look at it like this because life doesn't reward potential. It definitely rewards preparation. So today's video, I'm gonna just get into one of those videos that you would come into to understand your purpose in life and how you carry yourself and just have self-reflection on how you handle situations, how you've been going about things. If you really ain't got that proper guidance or mentorship or actual friendship that can help you in times when times get rough, just come back to this video and just, send me a like, subscribe, something like that. I've always reached out into different videos. I mean, it's a lot of YouTubers out here who's doing their thing. I just want to give back as well. So, hey, let's just get right into it.
Early morning getting topped off. Bad bitch knock my socks off. Shorty do it till it pop off. Now she all in my place. Told her whip up a steak. I ain't got time to cake. After I feast on the plate, hopping right to a plate. Time to start off the day.
Alright, so look, check it out. So you gotta think about why certain people just stay focused even though it's really chaotic. I'm one of those type of people. And sometimes my emotions do rile up sometimes, but I have a thing where I sit back and relax and just breathe in certain situations because it's not really all that serious when you really think about it. It's really not that deep because I understand certain words is being said and it can make you feel some type of way, but you gotta understand emotions is temporary. And I know for me, when I start facing, I guess, adversity is how I would say it, I start to realize that it's a challenge to me that I want to overcome, and I know that's going to make me better.
Crawford will lay on his, see him lay on that left side. Punching between punches.
To me that I want to overcome, and I know that's going to make me better. Like I'm achieving something. So that's the warrior spirit in me. I've always had that since I came out the womb. That's all I could believe. I love fighting. That's just my thing.
I put in work and it's all for the kids. But these cats done forgot what work is. They don't know who we be looking. They don't know who they see.
Decisions that can be made that will not really align with what your long-term goal is. Because if you make a certain decision that can eventually get you either in a bad position where you're constantly spiraling down. We talking about federal prison or just going to jail or something like that. Something that just messes up your life instead of just like, oh, I just went to this new college or I got this new job, I'm gonna turn into a career or something like that. You get what I'm saying? So again, it's always good to just be calm in certain situations and really think it out. Perfect example, you got Malcolm X, you got Martin Luther King. They thought things out. They did things in a smart, intelligent way. That's just an example though. My other thing I want to discuss was when distractions hit you and how hard they hit you. So one time I was working on something and I can see myself easily getting distracted with making videos like this, for example. And I made sure that I consistently gave myself an hour in order to do a video or be within this workspace to create. The biggest thing that was distracting me is I got to focus on work, make sure my wife is straight, make sure my house is together, make sure that work is good, working out in between that, and school. So it's a lot of, it's not distractions really, it's just more of how you managing your time. So like,
oh, I hit her from the back, I beat her doonies down. She said I fuck her good, I make her coochie smile. I'm a pin her on the wall, yeah, movie style. I'm out here looking for the cat, I'm a coochie scout. I'm in the car at the bar, pointing coochie out.
I'm fucking with the lights on, check the coochie out. Told her take the pennies off, pull the coochie out. I'ma use straight spit to with the coochie down. Okay, I want you on your back, turn the coochie round. Damn, her coochie loud. Say she ain't fucked in a minute, heard the coochie growl. Said I was, but I never ate the coochie out.
Managing your time. So like your time management, that's got to be important too, what you do with your time. But I'll throw in bits and pieces of this after I go through the video and everything like that, and just like I'm saying, so it's just more of an understanding of that. But these are just intriguing questions when you really just think about it. And then my biggest thing is, why does it seem like the closest person to you sometimes try to pull you off your path? Now, you may have a friend you always talk to day in, day out. Y'all talk about anything, whatever like that, right? If you're not a very, I guess, extroverted person and you're not like a social butterfly where you just talk to multiple people, so you may have like eggs in multiple baskets or whatever like that. But if you like more of an introverted person that just like to just keep to themselves and have a very private life, there's nothing wrong with that too. But you always got like two that you talk to, and it seemed like they have a different perspective on things, so it seemed like it may be pushing you off your path or whatever like that. So that's another case. But I'm really not here to just like motivate you for 5 minutes or whatever like that and waste your time. I'm really here to like, help and then like help you arm yourself with things for you in life. So now I didn't grow up with great guidance on how I should go about things. There were certain tools that was thrown at me, but the person that was in my life made sure that I stayed focused on school, made sure I knew how to defend myself, and made sure that I had the mindset of surviving and basically defending myself when need be, and to handle business when it's time to handle it, and just staying focused and just living. Like, life is meant to live. And it's just pretty much just like who I am, where I come from. I'm not really finna like get deep into that because again, it's the internet and I'm not finna be discussing where I come from. For the people that do know who I am, that eventually probably find this video years later or whatever like that, you already know where I'm coming from and how I'm rocking. So, so a little bit about my upbringing. I would say definitely was getting belt to ass. So, I did sports. I fought. I roasted people. I did a lot of stuff. I learned a lot from mistakes, and I've observed a lot of things in my life that had definitely changed my life. And for me, the biggest pressure that I was having in life is where I'm going to be. Am I going to have that career? Am I going to become a doctor or a lawyer or something like that? Like, if you have an aunt or your mom mention something to you, oh, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, and those, or you're going to be a fireman or something like that. So it's just something like that. But like, my dreams and aspirations more high, and I'll probably be fighting in the cage or the whole time thinking I'd be an artist. I don't like to call it being a rapper. I like to being called like an artist that creates art, like music. Music is like my religion. It's the love of my life right there. I feel like you can't get nothing better than music, man, because music has a way of playing on the strings of certain emotions that make you feel some type of way. That's a good outlet too. And the biggest things of what I learned what not to do is mainly to stay away from bad morals and bad habits, because the biggest thing that I noticed is that once I start forming these bad habits or have these bad morals coming from with those type of intentions, which is really evil, you're gonna find, well, what I've seen is that it's gonna be this long pattern of just like horrible negativeness is what I'm gonna call it. And I don't want to go through that. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to have a bad time in my life. I don't even want to have a heartache. So for me, this is what I've been looking out for, certain things of what not to do. And when you really think about it, do people really know where we go after we finish with our life? What's after death? People have their beliefs, everything like that, but you really got to ask yourself that, or did I live a fulfilled life? And the biggest thing that I've learned is that wisdom does come from age, but it really comes from experience. When certain things happen where it's not traumatizing, but it's more of, I get it now. I understand what has occurred and how I'm taking it. No, not how I'm taking it. It's how, I can't even say receiving. I don't even know what's going on. What is the word I'm looking for? How I am perceiving it. There we go. So I would just say the biggest thing is just paying attention to what you're doing so you can move accordingly. Now, the biggest thing for your path, I feel as though, is that you want to stay away from distractions. You want to make sure that you can identify what your emotional triggers are. And that's a big one I'm going to talk about. And then understanding comfort versus discipline. And then validation seeking, credibility, or asking somebody, maybe talk to your father or something like that. If you ever came back from buying a remote or something. You get what I'm saying, though. The biggest thing is that I think the reason why a lot of people lose their way on their path is that the distractions get so heavy, it gets to the point where they're off multitasking different things and they don't go back on what the main goal was. Because now, again, I said earlier with the time management, now you're all over the place. And things are building up, yes, but it's not building up as how powerful it would be if you put more time into what that is, which is your path, right? So emotional triggers. Now this is the big one I really want to talk about, is that somebody can be antagonizing you, and like, this is not friendly banter. People know if this ticked you off, right? And now maybe you just like D1 valid crash out, right? But I've seen people like this, and they get in these situations where it's like, now you done just broke somebody's face all because of some words. And like, it could be some crazy words. Oh, man, F your mama, woo woo. Just blatant disrespect. Just straight up like, I really hope your family dies. That's some crazy work right there. Man, you just got to understand what your emotional triggers is and what really ticks you off. Because if you got people who like to manipulate or pick at you for no reason or whatever like that, because they may not like you or they may be envious because of how you look or something, or they just think, oh, you're bigger. You know what I'm saying? You're bigger. That girl over there checking you out and I want to talk to her, woo, woo, whatever like that. Man, don't nobody care about none of that, bro. For real. If you really just not looking within and you worry about what's going on the outside, you're going to always have a problem. You ain't got no type of confidence. You ain't focused on yourself. And that means that if you ain't focused on yourself, you worry about everybody else's business. And now you're going to find yourself in a situation where it's like, if you didn't mind your business, now you a problem. Now you got to get dealt with. No, but that sounds a little crazy. But we just going to take it back a little bit. Back on the emotional triggers. Now, you see how easy it is to get distracted because you can feel some type of way. And you can say what you want. But if you don't do nothing about it, then, I'm saying, again, choosing what you want to do. Anyway, so with that, definitely identify what your emotional triggers are, how you can facilitate that, and how you can manage that. So that's another important thing that helps you with your path. Because, again, somebody can say something crazy and you just haul off and hit them. Or if you finesse it, like where you start to see the habits of a person, because you really think this is an enemy, right? And you start realizing how they at fault for something, right? They said something, but then they touched you, right? But it's a type of touch. They could have just touched you, right? Regardless of the fact they touched you, right? And then you just haul off and just break something. I'm saying you just destroy them just right then and there because it's been building up after a while. That's if you passive aggressive compared to a person that's instantaneous, where they just want to handle something right away. But it's a certain way you go about it. Now, say you got witnesses, people who's just present. This sound like a whole case right here. But at the end of the day, learn how to figure out your emotional triggers. You know, some my mother even told me too. Just don't fall for the okie doke, man. Don't get caught up in that rope. Anyway, but comfort versus discipline. Biggest thing is that your comfortability, I feel like that's how you have a peace of mind. And there's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of people think that comfort is what makes a lot of people lazy. I agree with that. I do agree with that to a certain extent. But then at the same time, you could be disciplined and you could be overworking yourself. I remember somebody had asked me, what's your vices? I think my vices, when I'm extremely locked in to the point where I don't see nothing else but what I want to do is overtraining. Overtraining can be a problem. Because you got to think about it. Say you just want to just let out all your emotions, everything like that. You got a punching bag in front of you. You can only punch that bag so much till you run out of breath, till you get tired. Then you just think, oh, it's too soft on top of this punching bag. Let me start punching the bottom of it. But now you got to think about the wear and tear you putting on your body too. No matter how you feel. Then you got moments to where you just feel like, oh, I could just keep running and to the point where you just think in your mind, I got all this energy, I got all this anger probably, or I'm just joyful. I could just do it to the maximum part of my capabilities, right? Again, like that discipline, it's a thing, but I feel like sometimes people use discipline just to get to the comfortability part though. Because you got a structured home, you clean, cook food, make sure you straight at home, and then now what you gonna do next? You're gonna relax, right? You're gonna get into that comfortability. So that's just like Two sides of the fence. You don't want too much of one of those. You don't want to lean too hard on it. It has to be a balance. Now, the validation seeking, I think it's a big problem with that. In this era, you got it where a lot of people feel as though that they need to be asking other people, oh, well, what you feel about this person? Because this is how I feel about this person. And it just like, why you even worry about that? Why you even focus on another person if they not benefiting you in no type of shape or form? And a perfect example of that is with these ideologies. And then you have these isms, right? You got people who is into this racism. You got people who is into this rankism. And I'm not even going to touch on that. That's later on in the videos once they start building up. Because we're still in the beginning stages of this channel. But I'm going to get into that. But again, these isms, these ideologies, favoritism, nepotism. So it just goes on and on. But again, you looking for validation from somebody else and not from yourself. Because you could be comparing it to, oh, I used to do this. My old self used to do this. I never been able to do 1,000 push-ups in one session. Or let's just be realistic. Let's just be realistic. Like, technically speaking, like, I'm able to do like 250 push-ups in one session, right? But I didn't reach 300. Now, I didn't validate it myself. Because I knew I could do 50 more reps on my own body weight. And I feel happy about that. I'm not finna sit up there and ask somebody else, man, ain't it great that I could do 300 push-ups now compared to 250? Come on, man. You gotta look from within, man. You can't love nobody unless you love yourself. Really think about that. Anyway. Now, the other question I got for the people who's actually viewing this is that you need to ask yourself what's pulling your focus from what's important to you or how you prioritizing things. So, again, drop a comment or whatever like that. What's pulling you from what you're trying to focus on? Like, just type it in, I'll respond, whatever like that. Let's just interact or something like that. Let's go ahead and type on the keyboard. Now, my other little piece I want to talk about is protecting yourself in the world. Now, my biggest thing is having boundaries because that's respecting yourself and knowing what's good for you. What you can basically keep yourself from having those triggers go off. So you got emotional boundaries. And you set that for yourself in order to make sure that you're happy at all times and you're calm at all times. You've already set these boundaries and you have these walls in your mind where it's like, if this person says this, I'm not going to get set off. So now I'm able to just move accordingly, or that'll just bounce right off me. Oh, you ugly today. Just, all right, whatever. Oh. And then they turn around and be like, oh, you smell good, man. What's that? Ooh. Differentiate what the situation is. Like, because you have those boundaries, and you could let it be known. You could tell somebody, hey, don't be talking about that. I'm not trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Perfect example. I seen one time somebody, I was younger, just on the block hanging out with others. Somebody mentioned that, oh, I think this little dime piece or whatever, fine as whatever, right? But mind you, this person is not of age, 2 years away from being of age. But then the people that's in this group and the person that had said this, without a doubt, about 4 of the people in that group instantaneously said, what did you just say? And they straight up have a certain code to them where if certain things is said, we got to really address the issue. Because a lot of people don't have these type of codes. And there's certain things that some people don't joke around with. But the person, you can pretty much figure out what's going on here. This person made that comment, and then we was just like, we need you to correct that. What you got going on? And as they're going more into it, at that point, nothing else needs to be said. It should just be like a man thing at that point. Go ahead, you know what I'm saying, knock his teeth down his throat. But anyway, protection of energy. We're going to move on to that. This is really key. And I feel as though that if you don't know how to protect your energy, you're just vulnerable at all times. And with that being said is that but you just don't have a barrier from bad vibes or putting yourself in situations where that there is going to be bad energy or something like that. And that's just going to take away from you. I know if you ever went somewhere and you hang out with certain individuals and it feel like there's like this rut in your stomach and you just get this bad feeling around these people, and it's just like, for some reason, I feel like I just need to just remove myself so I can feel better, because something don't feel right or something's not sitting right being around these group of people. So I know that if I remove myself from the environment and change my environment to something more uplifting and giving me more energy, then that would be a sign of me protecting my energy. Or I discuss something where I need to like play some music or ease the mood or something, because sometimes it may not be the people, it could just be you just coughing. But then again, like, gut instinct don't be lying, because it do be something up, and then if you pop the right question, then boom, so you get an answer and you'll figure it out. You can sort it out from there. Now, this is another important thing, and I know I've been dibbling and dabbling all over what I'm saying, but you understand what I'm saying, and I'm not getting too in depth. I told a little bit about myself and everything, but it's not oversharing. So you got a lot of people who do this, and it would probably be best to seek professional help. I ain't no professional or nothing like that. I ain't go to school for. Well, I did learn psychology, but I'm not. This is not like my whole thing, my career, whatever like that. I have to you want to put it, but I'm still giving back into the community and just helping out or whatever. So my other thing is this. So when you talk to people and then all of a sudden they just start telling you about, basically they confiding into you, right? So they start telling you about how my cat did something and choked on something and died, and then one of my family members that passed away. Just, you don't even know this person. You haven't even known them for a year, and they just get to oversharing a lot of stuff like this. And you just met this person, and they just think you just cool, and they just talking to you, whatever like that. And you just be like, listen, depending on the type of person that's listening, but like listen, and just like some people just feel comfortable. They feel like it's easy to confide into you, because like some people just randomly just like, y'all could be working or whatever like that, and this person could have been like working at this factory for like 15 years, and then you get to the factory and everything, and you just cool dude or cool woman or whatever like that. And you just chilling, you just like, oh hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. You want to be here for quite some time, da da da. You just chit chatting or whatever like that, right? And then this person come around and be like, yeah, that's cool, man. I want to tell you something, but don't tell nobody, man. But I'm going through a divorce with my wife. And then you just be like, oh. And then you try to help them out. You know what I'm saying? But that's like oversharing. You don't want to do all that. Learn how to protect yourself. That's the main thing I'm talking about right now. But another thing is this too. Knowing when to move in silence. This is another key. Now, I noticed that a lot of people tell on themselves on what they doing, and I do it sometimes too, but I don't tell them everything, specifics. It's just more of like in general overview of, oh, I'm doing something like this. Somebody be like, oh, I'm about to go hop on this basketball team, I'm finna go do overseas. A couple of my homies doing it, whatever like that. Or I'm about to see if I can get inside the UFC house or something like that. Something on them lines, but like, you're not telling them, oh, I got this flight on this time, or I gotta do this, and I talk to this person, and I don't tell your moves. Just keep it on the low. A lot of people ain't even gotta know, like, oh, you make $1 million. I'm balling out right now. You know what I'm saying? That sounds crazy. Ain't nobody just going around just telling people that, oh, I make a couple millions. You know what I'm saying? And I got this much in stocks. I got these many assets. I got all this real estate over here. Da, da, da. Unless it was like the context of the conversation. Oh, I got this complex, and then the other person be like, oh, I bought a couple houses over here. You know what I'm saying? Of that context of the conversation. So if you proactively making moves, it's probably best to just not even say nothing about it and just let them find out on their own. Same thing with this channel. Nobody even know about this channel. I didn't really tell nobody except people that's close to me, you know what I'm saying? But just chit chatting. A lot of people be on YouTube, do the same thing, whatever like that. But you actually get to give back to the community and actually connect with people within that community and learn a lot of different things. So again, just move in silence, man. It's just best to be that way, man. It's definitely just best to be that way. Now, I think the funny thing is that when you really think about it, you don't leave your front door open in no bad neighborhood. You don't leave no door unlocked. You ain't gonna leave your car door unlocked with packages in there or something like that. Do you really want to leave your mind open to everybody, to just be picking at it? So that's another thing, man. Biggest thing I have always did too is that I have been staying observant. I listen very well. I watch what I say. I don't know if you heard the term like, hey, you need to think before you speak. And when you make certain moves, you want to move with a certain intention behind it. And that was another thing when I was saying with the character of people, some people have good intentions. And again, when you're moving and doing stuff, move intently and quietly. Now, going back over to oversharing, I think the biggest thing is that you don't want to over explain what your vision is to people who haven't really earned that type of trust. Because you got people who give good advice and bad advice, or they low-key have some type of bad intention, or they may be jealous because you're finding the time to do something, or if you've been working hard and smart towards something, and now they didn't earn that type of information from you. So that's another vital thing of staying quiet with the way that you're moving. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm really big on this, and that peace is like a form of power when you really think about it. When you at peace with yourself, you don't have no type of quarrel with anybody, or it's just everything just within yourself. That's a form of power. If you're already not emotionally distraught when you're doing something or when you're around people, that's a form of power. Because you can stay observant. You can be aware of what's going on. You can see how other people interact with each other. You can learn a lot. Just like when people are like, oh, you can't fool me. I already see the play. You know what I'm saying? When you start seeing the way certain people is moving around and how you start seeing people like branch off and click off in certain areas and everything like that, you see what's going on. Because you're not already confused in your own mind because of what you got going on. Because you at peace with yourself. You can interact with people with your full self. Not just the half one, not the one that's basically blinking on danger mode like Pokemon or something. But you just at peace with yourself. That's all it is, really. So, now, the other thing I want to talk about, dealing with people who try to bring you down. Now, you can be calm, mature, and I wouldn't say really authoritative, but be authoritative over your boundaries and who you is. That's another thing. So, some people really don't be hating you. They just hate that you remind them of somebody. And hate is a strong word when you really think about it. Now, I had this little situation at the gym where I wasn't as swole as I was. I was about a few pounds off of what I really wanted for my goal. And the person that, when you go to the gym, I start seeing the same people and everything like that. So I started seeing this certain person, and we always letting out each other up like that. He was just one of the, I guess, gym bros, or however you want to put it, but somebody you just see at the gym all the time when you always going up. Now, this person walked up to me and asked me what was my regime and everything like that, because they can clearly see that I'm getting bigger, right? But then I told them, and I was like, hey, it depends on the type of build that you're going for. I was like, well, from what I'm seeing, your build is like a very slender and cardio. You're not really stacking on weight. I don't know, what is your build? And this person straight up told me like, oh, well, I think that I'm bigger than you and da da da, and like I'm actually trying to get on this machine now that you even mentioned that. And I'm just like, see, this is like one of those situations where like, nobody really respects you to say something like that, and they haven't been like reminded of how dark and cold the world can get and how serious things can get. And that's what I'm telling myself in my head, and I'm just like, oh, at this point they projecting right now. That's what's going on. They projecting right now because they came up to me, they asked me what my regime was, and they was like, man, they see it, I'm getting bigger and everything. And I tell them what is they build, and then they wanted me to explain what they build was and what they should do. And then I told them, and was just being honest, and then they started projecting on, oh, well, that's not what I'm going for. That's not what I'm, okay, then why didn't you tell me that? So again, people be projecting. That could have been, that's probably a good example, bad example, whatever, but you get what I'm saying. People get to projecting. You be hanging out with one of your homeboys, and then they just turn around and just say something like, man, I know you got a whole bunch of little fine little pieces or whatever like that. And you just be like, sir, I'm a gentleman and a warrior. What are you talking about? And then they just be like, nah, man, I know you be playing left and right. Look at you. I know you getting crazy. And then I know you just saw Shorty. Just, you know what I'm saying? And you just be like, man, nah, bro, that's you projecting right now. Because that's what you got going on. And you just want me to be in that little bubble. No, I'm good, man. I'm chilling. Now, the other thing though is when people come up to you and they say something crazy, dang, like your lips big, or man, your beard is nice, and man, why I ain't got that type of hair? You know what I'm saying? And you just like, what you got going on, man? Why you talking to me like that? First of all, like, grown man, mind you, what is you doing? Like, what is you saying, man? And this person is just straight up, man, I just wish I had that type of hair. I wish my beard, I even had a beard that grew in, and da. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, damn, this person insecure they self. That's kind of crazy. You really wishing all this stuff, but why are you not happy with what you have? Why are you not grateful? I'm really trying to think about that. Like, why are you not grateful with who you are? Where's this lack of confidence coming from? Seriously, where is it coming from? It is what it is, man. You gotta figure out what's going on with you. Now, I feel as though irritation is a trap. Because you ever notice how when you get mad and your tone start getting real high pitched, if you feeling something and all of a sudden the fluctuation of your voice start, pitch get higher, or you come into the job like, oh, hey, how you doing, man? Hey, what's going on? You put on this mask, whatever like that, or like somebody really send you off and you get this certain irritation with something, that's definitely a trap. That's that when people like rage bait, basically. When they rage bait you into something, that's definitely a trap right there. You got to be mindful of that. And you need to protect yourself from that. Because that's another important thing on staying focused on your path, because that irritation can lead to a lot of rage baiting, basically. And you'll mess around and just react instead of respond. That's another thing, too. When you're reacting to something that's emotional, when you respond to something that's logical, it's something smart. I'm saying intellectual. Oh, man, I crap. But yeah. And another thing, too, is that if you ever feel like you need to little yourself or make yourself small in a certain environment, don't do that. Because without a doubt, you're going to have that power, that energy emitting from you. And people's going to pick up on that, and they're going to feel like they need to belittle you. And if you belittling yourself and making yourself small in the environment, then what you doing? You're allowing others to control how you feel and how you move. Don't do that. Just be yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with being yourself as long as the right self, the righteous self. So, and this is another little interactive thing. Just leave in the comments. So, this is another question. Who benefits when you're not focused? So just leave that down at the bottom, type it up, whatever like that. And I'll respond to it and everything, and we'll see what's up. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and cut this because it's been a long one. And I just really wanted to just touch base. That's all I really wanted to do. And if there's like certain topics we could talk about or whatever like that, just drop it in the comments, whatever like that. But I'm going to just cut it short right here. This is a pretty long one. And I'll probably make a part 2 of it, so I'm just checking in. So, all right. But I will leave a video at the end. Well, it's going to be like a video after this. And I was just looking around. I found my old BandLab account. And I had some music on there. But I probably won't keep that in here. I'll probably just do it some other time. But other than that, hey, I appreciate the support. The likes, subscribe, do what you got to do. Hey, here's a little tidbit I did want to leave at the end and just explain is that this channel is existing mainly because I do want to give people more to life and have some type of understanding like I did for myself and everything like that, and appreciate your life, and just giving out some motivation as well. Not only that, I'll be gaming a little bit, have some gaming videos, whatever like that too, but the biggest thing is understanding human relations, having that emotional intelligence, and understanding discipline, growth. Other than that, just stay focused and don't let the world decide who you become. That's another thing. So if this message hits you in the right place, just definitely leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll catch on the next one, man. So let's get it.